Thanks for joining us for Security 209, Cloud Posture and Workload Protection with Security Command Center Premium. I'm Timothy Peacock, a product manager here at Google Cloud. I look after our threat detection capabilities, and in my spare time, I co-host the Cloud Security Podcast by Google. I'll be joined today by Dr. Jasyn Voshell, Director of Product and Solution Security at Zebra. If you're interested in learning how to protect your organization's use of Google Cloud as a platform and protect your workloads on top, this session is for you. We have a packed agenda today, an overview of SEC Premium for those of you new to the product, a deep dive with our friend Jasyn from Zebra, and a lightning round of announcements from across the Security Command Center platform, misconfig, and threat detection teams. Let's dive right in. Security Command Center Premium brings together in one central tool security insights across your organization and across the security lifecycle. I think of SEC Premium as providing 4 pillars of value for security teams. First, asset and resource tracking. Staying current with resource creation, update, and deletion can be a challenge in public clouds. If you choose to give engineering teams flexibility in creating new services, Security Command Center's Cloud Asset Inventory makes it really easy for organizational admins to stay aware of what's changing inside their org and easily query for deleted and changed assets. Second, hardening, misconfiguration, and vulnerability detection. Thanks to our real-time asset updates, SEC Premium provides real-time misconfiguration detection. Cloud Security Posture Management, CSPM, is a must-have for security teams in cloud. Security Command Center Premium provides out-of-the-box, actionable posture insights for our top GCP services. Understanding and responding to misconfiguration exposure is crucial for preventing breach in cloud. The third pillar is threat detection, and we all know that despite our best investments in hardening, bad guys are still going to try to do bad things. We'll talk a lot more about detecting threats in just a minute. Fourth, and finally, SEC Premium helps you tie your success in cloud security posture management back to leading compliance standards. Not only do our findings map to leading standards, we also provide the right tooling in the platform to help you report on your compliance across your organization. Now let's look in depth at 2 of these areas. First, hardening, and then threat detection. SEC Premium provides out-of-the-box platform and workload hardening. Our posture findings are, like I said, generated in real time and come with remediation instructions, making these insights usable and actionable by engineering teams and project owners who are maybe not security experts. Above the infrastructure layer, we're now bringing in operating system vulnerability insights thanks to our partnership with Google's VM Manager service. Users can expect to see more updates on SEC's presentation of CVE detection from a couple of other teams from Google Cloud really soon. Finally, on top of those common vulnerability insights, SEC Premium also provides the same web app scanning for OWASP top 10 vulnerabilities as we use ourselves in-house to protect Google. Our web security scanner is even easier to use than ever with automated discovery and scanning of your web apps. All of this comes together to help security teams proactively secure both their cloud environment and their workloads running on top without bringing in third-party dependencies, exposures, and risk. And with that, let's turn to talking about the most unwanted of third parties with a quick look at threat detection in cloud. A few years ago at conferences, we all got to feel very smart and smug by saying, oh, the cloud is just someone else's computer. The truth is, in cloud, there's a lot more than just someone else's computer. We have new planes of attack surface, and with them, new opportunities for instrumentation. At the same time as the world of cloud has brought tremendous change to the security job, our needs as security professionals haven't really changed all that much. We're still focused on keeping data confidential, guaranteeing integrity, and ensuring availability. Tolstoy wrote that, quote, all happy families resemble one another. Every unhappy family is unhappy in its own way. Today's major public clouds are our proverbial unhappy families. Adversaries attack and pivot through clouds differently, and security teams need deep cloud-specific expertise to detect the most dangerous threats in their environments. With Security Command Center Premium, our customers get access to the same real-time threat detection as Google uses to protect its own use of Google Cloud. They say all models are wrong, but some are useful. Here I offer what is definitely wrong, but a hopefully useful 6-layer model for thinking about protect surface in cloud environments. SEC Premium offers detection modules at each layer of the 6-layer cake with special emphasis on detecting identity compromise and protecting Kubernetes workloads at runtime. We handle platform threat detection with our real-time log processing service, event threat detection, and workload threat detection with our container threat detection service. We'll talk more about some new capabilities in both of those services in just a bit. With that, I want to welcome our guest today, Dr. Jasyn Voshell of Zebra Technologies. Jasyn, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Tell our audience a little bit about yourself, your role in the org, and what your company does.
Absolutely. So I'm Dr. Jasyn Voshell. I'm the Director for Product and Solution Security for Zebra Technologies. Zebra may be the biggest, smallest company you've never heard of. Everything from scanning a package to tracking an asset from point A to point B. That's the products we put out. And my responsibility and accountability is to make sure those products we put out are as secure as possible. Good example, if any of you have ever gotten a package delivered to you and it has a barcode on it, that tracking from where it was all the way to arrive at your doorstep was using Zebra Technologies products and possibly solutions as well. And so my job is to, again, make sure that everything we do with that is as secure as possible.
That's an amazing impact that a company like that has so invisibly. So they say to start secure stories at the beginning. So could you tell the audience a little bit about getting started with Security Command Center Premium, how long that took, and what it was like rolling it out to your different business units?
Yeah, it did take some time. I think with any new product that comes into play, there's always some resistance at first. People are used to doing things a certain way. But with the Google Command Center, we use a lot of GCP, Google Cloud Platform, in the solutions that we build. The old ways of trying to make sure that's secure, the apps on top of it is secure, tracking the inventory on what we have, took a little bit of time. But as we progressed forward, it really helped. Good example, we had a customer during an RFP, or request for proposal discussion, and we were stepping through. They were asking us, well, how are you securing this? How are you doing this? And at one point we said, oh, we're using the Google Security Command Center and on top of this application. And they stopped and went, well, I don't think we need to ask the next 10 or 20 questions, because they knew about this product and they knew that those questions were being answered already. And so with that, when that took a hold, when customers started to realize, yeah, you're using that, our internal teams went, that's a lot faster. We can answer questions quicker. We can make sure the risk is reduced or to an acceptable amount where we need it to be. And with that, we were able to get better internal adoption. You always want to carry that big stick around, but you never want to swing it. You want the teams internally to want to use it, to show them the value. And after a little bit of that, getting over the hump, having a customer go, yeah, that makes it a lot easier. Having the sales teams realize, hey, you just answered an RFP quicker on security because you're using this product. They're happier about it too. We got a lot of quicker adoption, much easier. It also helped a great deal, and I think we'll dive into this a bit more in a sec, but being able to give those teams back feedback. Hey, we found something, and here's how you can go fix it, and here's how quick we gave it to you, and not getting a lot of FUD or a lot of cloudy stuff, pun fully intended, for those teams. So that does help across the board.
Yeah, so let's dive in on that, because one of the things that comes up for me with my customers is really how do they scale their security operations as they grow their cloud footprint. One of the features that we built, really two things here to help address that. One is what we call scoped or delegated views of SCC, where you can give the teams responsible for a project or folder a view of their findings in SCC. And the other is packing a lot of detail and remediation instructions into the posture findings so that non-expert teams can really respond to them. So how's it gone rolling out that delegation of posture issues to teams?
Yeah, so I don't know if anyone's have the old school way of how do IT or some team finds a bunch of vulnerabilities and they want to give that to the engineering teams and say, go fix it. In the past, they might have gotten a spreadsheet or logged into a website, and it's just like a plethora of data. And anybody who looks at that goes, like, my head hurts. I forgot what happened, and they're kind of dismissive. With the Security Command Center, the ability to focus in on this business unit for this project. So you're not looking at every project. Just, hey, this business unit, this project. Here are the things we're finding for you to go look at. It cuts right to the chase. And I think being able to give those teams or delegate to a certain engineering team or security team only what they need to see. They don't need to see everything. In fact, if they do, they're looking at the squirrel trying to figure out where it's going. They can focus on that, and they can fix it a lot quicker, right? It's not too overburdened. So with that, it's helped us speed up production in many cases, because as we're moving, and we'll talk about shift left in a second, as we're moving that further into the development life cycle, we're finding things quicker, and we're only showing the teams, this is what you need to fix. And so it feels a lot quicker for them.
Let's talk about shift left, because we've got a lot of different sessions on shift left at this year's Next. We've got talks about supply chain security and securing that. Could you tell us a little bit how you see SCC's hardening work supporting your organization's shift left efforts?
Yeah, so shift left, for anyone who's not familiar, hopefully everyone is, it means putting security earlier in the development lifecycle. So as you're even dreaming about a product that you want to build, you're thinking security almost up front right away. And so this tool allows us, so as we stand up even a development or non-production instance, we stand up GCP, we put the app on top of it, that security command center is still scanning that, still taking a real-time type of look into what we're doing. And we're able to fix those items quicker. And if anybody knows, when you shift left, because if I find a vulnerability late in the game, it's about to go out the door, and suddenly I realize, oh no, the foundation's cracked on this house we already built. It's a little late to fix the foundation now, or if I'm going to fix it, it's going to cost me quite a bit. And so we really want to do those things early on or left in the process. The command center allows us to find those vulnerabilities quickly, all during the process. So we're not like, moving 10 feet and then doing a check. It's every time we're making a little move, it's always checking on us. We can say, hey, we found something. Oh, we'll take care of that right away. It helps actually speed up the development lifecycle while keeping the product secure. And that's very important for us. It helps us get the product out the door quicker, which means our customers have it when they need it. And that's most important for us.
That's such a nice story around both helping with security as well as helping with development velocity. So often those are in tension. Can we also talk a little bit about how this is being used at your organization for threat detection and how that's gone for your teams?
Yeah. So one of the nice things we like to look at threat detection. Tons of tools in the world. Everyone is going, oh, I can find out what's going on here. The hardest part for me, false positives. You see something, hey, we think there's a threat at the door. Well, is it or is it not? And if you're making me put a resource on it to go investigate it, if you're chewing up resources, I can't expand my teams. The Security Command Center, in my opinion, has driven that false positive rate down quite a bit. Even with the little bit of tuning that we can do with the help from Google to help tune that as well. So when we get an actual threat or detection of a threat, it feels more real. We'll say in the past, you get a threat detection, maybe there's a 40, 50, 60% confidence. When we see them now through the Security Command Center, we're in the high 90s on the confidence of, yes, that is an actual threat. It is actionable. It's an event. Let's go take care of that. What does that naturally do? It frees up our resources to do things that are more important, more risk adverse as opposed to chasing ghosts, chasing FUD. So that helps us a great deal, provides confidence in the product, and also helps us even when we're talking to our customers, telling them, yes, we're using this tool. Okay, what kind of things you're looking for? We look for this. We're able to knock things down quickly and move to the next problem or vulnerability or threat that possibly comes up. Also, getting to the false positive piece, it does allow, again, it frees up those resources, which that means they can go look at other things. So as teams are developing a project, we're not chasing the ghost, we're looking at real threats, and we can get back to looking at, is there misconfiguration? Are we not aligned with a benchmark? Is there a standard we're not aligned to? And fix those things to keep it hardened and not just chasing things around.
Oh, that's awesome. I want to touch on one area before we wrap up, which is the user interface. We've made a lot of changes since some people started using the product. I understand you may have seen the more recent versions. We've got a lot of good changes coming soon. How's your team finding the UI?
Yeah, so you and I have talked about this before. I don't like to call it a UI. I like to call it a UFI, right? User-friendly interface. The ability for anyone to just log in on a whim and not have to crack open a 16-page or 160-page guide that looks like some major book, and just kind of get to where you want to get to is extremely important. So as a director, I'm not in the tool every day, right? Our teams, our SecOps division is in there looking at what they need to do. They're more advanced on it. But when we have something come up or leadership ask a question on, Jasyn, what's our security posture? What's our risk look like? Or we have a customer that says, we would like to know a little bit more about, what are you doing with your vulnerabilities? How often do you see things? As a director, I can have the team open it up. I can look inside, and without really knowing much more than just my technical space, I can figure out what's going on in that dashboard fairly quick. And I got to tell you that again, user-friendly interface is very beneficial. I can get I, as a director, can get an answer really quick without having to know the technical details of it. Now, of course, there's some things that that team is better for, but from where I'm sitting, I can get an answer quick. I can tell our leadership, our customers, or even our internal people that need those answers, even from where I'm sitting. So I'm very much a fan of your UFI.
Jasyn, I love that answer. And with apologies to directors of security everywhere, I think what we just heard is that our user interface is so easy, even a director can use it. Jasyn, thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate your thoughts and insights on the product. We didn't want to leave out your CISO either. He's got this to add. And what I love about his quote here is that it really shows how SCC Premium brings together both the cloud security posture management side as well as the cloud workload protection capabilities to give your company really a one-stop shop for all your needs in protecting Google Cloud. So I promised announcements, and I didn't forget. We've got a couple of new capabilities that are exciting in the platform, as well as in the hardening and threat detection sides of the house. So with that, a couple of really great announcements here. The first one is that I've had so many users asking over the years how they can tune and manage our systems that I suspect security engineering is actually full of musicians. We're rolling out a feature now that we're calling Mute, which is essentially Gmail filters for your SCC environment. We know that not every one of our findings is always right for your environment. Organizations can have compensating controls, and threat intelligence is occasionally noisy. With the Mute feature, teams can easily silence and control the scope of those silences to ensure that their findings queue is full of findings that teams care about. Muting would be really hard to get right without finding standardization. And so we've standardized attributes across our different findings. With Mute, we're simultaneously rolling out new attributes and making sure that our vulnerability and threat teams are using those to give you a consistent experience as you go through the finding set. We know that teams already have workflows for their other security tooling, and we're making it easier than ever to export SCC's findings into your channels of choice, including now your Slack channels of choice. Finally, a big ask from users has been scoped or delegated views. Jasyn and I touched on their value, and using the normal IAM patterns from Google Cloud, teams can now give teams responsible for projects and folders insights into the issues happening in those environments. On the misconfig and vulnerability side, we've got some really exciting announcements as well. Security Health Analytics, our real-time posture management system, now supports user-defined detection. This has been a top ask, and we're really excited about what's now possible. I mentioned that we're bringing in OS-level CVE detection with our VM Manager integration. This is a great collaboration with our friends over on Google Compute Engine, and will help organizations understand how well they're doing at the eternal topic of patching. It's a bit like flossing, not exciting, not necessarily fun, but definitely among the most important things you can do to shift your security outcomes. Finally, on the misconfig and hardening front, we're also bringing in detection of CVEs in widely deployed applications with a managed deployment of our open source Tsunami tool. Now, with that, on to the threat detection updates. 3 areas in event threat detection and 1 in container threat detection. Google Groups is used by most organizations. Rather than assign IAM roles directly to users, roles are assigned to groups, and users belong to those groups. This makes management of onboarding and offboarding a lot easier, but there are some gaps and risks that get introduced by Google Groups. ETD has now integrated with Google Groups to give teams findings that highlight when a group with permissions becomes more widely joinable, as well as when a grant is made to a group that contains external members. Additionally, we've recently released a set of detection techniques using User Entity Behavioral Analytics, or UEBA. It's one of those acronyms that only our friends at Gartner could love, but it describes the general technique of profiling and detecting deviation from those profiles. We're using it today to detect account takeover and compromise for both IAM accounts as well as service accounts. On the Kubernetes side, we're rolling out a number of new detection modules. One that we released very recently is a machine learning powered bash script classifier. Our general theory of defense with KTD is to take away from adversaries entire classes of technique rather than specific procedures. With this detector, we have a robust and generic approach to detecting malicious script execution inside of containers. It leverages Google's strengths in ML, and we're really excited about how it's performing against production data already. One more thing. We've integrated Security Command Center Premium with Chronicle. This is a wonderful case of the teams truly being better together. SCC's real-time threat detection joins Chronicle's powerful investigatory capabilities. With this integration, users can seamlessly pivot from a finding detail in Security Command Center into a curated alert view within Chronicle. From there, users can investigate the threat and quickly pivot to associated actions and events related to the finding. For example, imagine a SOC operator quickly investigating if a principal observed making a suspicious IAM grant had recent login activity, or if they made other suspicious changes after that IAM grant. We're really excited about where this partnership is going. Beyond ingesting SCC findings, Chronicle is also ingesting the stream of cloud audit logs in real time and pulling cloud asset inventory metadata to ensure that analysts have the latest and greatest context when investigating threats. I know this has been a whirlwind tour of SEC Premium, our capabilities, and what's new. Thanks for hanging on. If you're ready to learn more or get started with SEC Premium, you can check out our detailed documentation or contact your account team to get started today. We're here to protect your organization, and we're definitely no use of you if you can't follow what's going on. We take feedback on these sessions really seriously, so please do fill out the feedback for the session and let us know how we could help you better. With that, I want to thank you for joining us for Security 209, Cloud Posture and Workload Protection. I'm Timothy Peacock, and I want to thank you again for taking the time to learn about how Security Command Center Premium could help your organization with asset visibility, misconfiguration, vulnerability management, threat detection, and compliance reporting. Have a great day.